Imagine you're living thousands of years ago. There are no cigarettes, no tobacco shops, and no one to tell you what smoking is. One day, a wildfire sweeps through a forest. As plants burn, thick clouds of smoke rise into the air. Curious people approach the area after the fire passes and notice something unusual. Certain plants leave behind strange smells, while others produce effects that seem to change how a person feels. Could this be how humanity first discovered smoking? While no one knows the exact moment smoking was invented, scientists and historians believe its origins may have begun with simple observations of nature and human curiosity. Long before written history, ancient humans spent much of their lives around fire. Fire was essential for warmth, cooking food, protection from predators, and gathering with family and friends. Because people were constantly exposed to smoke, they would have noticed that different types of wood, leaves, and plants produced different smells and effects when burned. Some smoke irritated the eyes and lungs, while other plants created pleasant aromas. Over time, humans likely began experimenting by throwing various plants into fires and observing the results. Among the thousands of plants growing in nature, some contained chemicals that affected the human body and mind. Ancient people may have discovered these effects accidentally. Imagine a group sitting around a campfire when certain dried leaves are tossed into the flames. As the smoke drifts through the air, people begin feeling relaxed, energized, or unusually calm. Experiences like these could have encouraged further experimentation. Human beings are naturally curious, and throughout history, curiosity has often led to important discoveries. Many researchers believe that smoking first developed as part of spiritual and religious practices rather than for recreation. In ancient societies, unusual experiences were often connected to the supernatural world. If inhaling the smoke of a particular plant caused vivid dreams, altered thoughts, or feelings of euphoria, people may have believed they were communicating with spirits, ancestors, or gods. Shamans and spiritual leaders often used smoke during ceremonies and rituals, believing it helped them connect with forces beyond the physical world. One of the most important plants in the history of smoking is tobacco. Archaeological evidence suggests that indigenous peoples in the Americas were using tobacco thousands of years before Europeans arrived. Tobacco was not originally used the way many people think of smoking today. Instead, it often played an important role in ceremonies, religious rituals, healing practices, and social gatherings. In some cultures, tobacco smoke was considered sacred and was believed to carry prayers to the spiritual world. As people became more familiar with tobacco and other smoke-producing plants, they began creating tools specifically designed for smoking. Early pipes were made from stone, clay, wood, and even animal bones. These simple devices allowed people to inhale smoke more directly and control the experience. Over generations, smoking became woven into the traditions and cultures of many societies. What may have started as accidental discovery gradually became a practiced and meaningful activity. Smoking was not limited to tobacco alone. Different cultures around the world experimented with a variety of plants. Some were used for medicinal purposes, while others were burned for their fragrance or spiritual significance. Ancient healers sometimes believed that smoke could cleanse the body, drive away evil spirits, or help treat certain illnesses. Although modern science has shown that many of these beliefs were inaccurate, they played an important role in how smoking spread through human societies. Everything changed when global exploration connected distant parts of the world. When Europeans encountered tobacco in the Americas, they quickly became fascinated by it. Sailors, traders, and explorers carried tobacco back to Europe, where its popularity grew rapidly. Within a relatively short time, smoking spread across continents and became one of the most widespread human habits in history. What began as a cultural and spiritual practice among ancient peoples eventually evolved into a global phenomenon. Yet the most fascinating part of the story remains the mystery of its discovery. No one knows the name of the first person who intentionally inhaled smoke from a plant. There was no inventor of smoking and no single moment when it suddenly appeared. Instead, it was likely the result of thousands of years of observation, experimentation, and human curiosity. Ancient people noticed the effects of certain plants, explored them through ritual and tradition, and gradually transformed those discoveries into practices that shaped cultures around the world. The next time you see smoke rising from a campfire, remember that something as ordinary as burning plants may have sparked one of humanity's oldest and most influential habits. The story of smoking is not just about tobacco or cigarettes. It is a story about curiosity, discovery, belief, and the endless human desire to understand and explore the world around us.